Hello, welcome to Wheels on Wire. Well, I promised you the Jaguar. It's the 220S, that stands for Sport in the hands of Jeremy on road and track. We're also going to be looking at the tie-up between BMW, Rolls-Royce and Bentley. Now that's an interesting one for the future. And then it's to something very different indeed. I'm going to let you guess what it is. We'll talk about it later in the programme. But now to Jeremy and the Jaguar. And now for something completely different. Merry Christmas. Well, this is a self-propelled gun. Something I think that you'll admit you don't see road tested very often. And it does go on the road, as well, of course, as on fairly rough terrain, such as we're in at the moment. In fact, it's an amazing vehicle. Why on earth should anybody buy one of these, let alone run it for pleasure, for fun?
The realisation of a childhood ambition. That's what it is. Didn't think you could drive on the road, found out you could and just thought, got to have one.
Now, obviously, technically it's quite an interesting vehicle. Tell me a bit about it.
Right, made by Vickers in 1963, has a 6.5 litre Rolls-Royce 2-stroke supercharged multi-fuel engine, 345 brake horsepower, very low revving, lots of torque, 17 tonnes in weight. The gun itself is 105mm calibre, can fire 10 miles, or could fire 10 miles if it was live. It has unfortunately been deactivated, so we can't do anything about that. Really the ultimate off-road vehicle, I think. Will go anywhere. A crowd pleaser at fetes and shows and events, and great fun to own and drive. The engine has a very exotic injection pump which can handle a variety of fuels. It can run about 5 different fuels: petrol, diesel, aircraft fuel, paraffin, etc. I think the idea being if you're stuck anywhere you can put whatever's available in and get out of trouble. Maintenance isn't a problem. There's 6 manuals for the actual workshop manual, and they're built to go for a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of miles between servicing in case they're in action and you can't get to a garage or the workshop. Parts, not a problem at the moment. There's plenty of stuff about in scrapyards, to be honest, being cut up.
They're telling you can actually take the engine out and run the engine out of the tank.
Yes, the complete power pack, as they call it, comes out: radiator, engine, transmission, the whole lot. Some umbilical wires and fuel pipes, which allow you to run the engine outside the vehicle.
What about driving it? Do you have to take a special test?
Yes, you do. Category H test is what you need for track vehicles, which I've recently taken and passed. Just like a normal car test, we did the 3-point turn, emergency stop, etc. And did about 10 miles around Bromsgrove, and I think the examiner was enjoying himself. Very, very good. The maximum speed of the vehicle is 30 miles an hour. It accelerates very quickly to that speed, but I think it's quick enough for something that's 17 tonnes and 8'6" wide.
Well, it's at this time that we normally say, let's see what it goes like on the road. And we didn't actually take the Abbot gun on the road. We took it, in fact, on a metalled road up towards the end of the farm that we tested it on, and the acceleration, I have to tell you, was prodigious. It isn't a vehicle that actually takes 2 or 3 people to drive it, but it is useful to have somebody standing up there keeping an eye to what's going on around, because your vision is certainly limited behind the controls. Oddly enough, it isn't the noise that gets you up there. Certainly in this kind of weather, the thing that gets you is that it's cold, very cold indeed. Surprisingly, it isn't a particularly uncomfortable ride on a metal road, as long as you dodge the trees. But it's not this sort of terrain that the Abbot gun was made necessarily to travel over. We needed to take it to the rough, the sort of countryside that would have to haul itself over, and we couldn't have found anywhere better. to admit by now that being perched on top of the gun was not perhaps the most comfortable place to be in the world, and certainly not on a cold day. On a hot day, the crew of 3 would, I think, perhaps in these conditions be not too uncomfortable. But if you were battened down in the crew quarters at the back, waiting for something to happen, then you'd either be frozen to death or basically boiled alive. I have to say that the RAF would have been my preference had I gone in the services. Fortunately for Britain's war efforts, I didn't. And if I had, I would have been very uncomfortable, and I've been a whinging crew member of something like this. The sheer power of the vehicle, however, is something that really I wouldn't have missed the experience of for the world. Dragging itself up out of mud like this. A very, very determined exhibition of workmanship that went into this vehicle, which, let's face it now, is over 30 years old. And don't forget, 2 pedal control, 6-speed automatic box, 2 levers in which you basically slow or stop one track in order to turn it left or right. Quite a performance on the part of the driver, and Paul loves every minute of it. He and his friends have totally rebuilt the vehicle over the course of the last 18 months, 2 years or so, and it's a testament to their mechanical skill and the availability of parts, which at the moment isn't a great problem. I wonder what it's like at night.
Merry Christmas! Happy New Year! Well, as you can see, all good things must come to an end, and you can see I'm going to be spending my Christmas. In the meantime, I hope you have a good one. See you again next week.
In next week's programme, we shall be looking at the Volkswagen Beetle, the Caterham fitted with the Rover engine, and a preview of the Autosport International Racing Car Show.